One of the knights approached the princess and offered her a drink. She thanked him and began to drink slowly, but he stopped her. The knight said she was drinking wrong. He drank the whole glass in a gulp. The princess thought it was some ancient ritual of vows of trust and friendship. After he drank his mug, he held out another to the princess. Now it was her turn to drink. She wasn't ready to drink it all at once, but gathering her strength she did. Everyone present started cheering her on. She said it was incredible. No one could have imagined that their head could do that. Someone even offered to have a drink with him. The girl thanked everyone, but she said she wasn't their head anymore. She wanted to take a break and apologized for her future absence. Also, she thanked them for following her. If possible, she would like to hand over her authority to Sir Joseph. Everyone immediately began to ask her questions. After all, they were just beginning to get along well. How she suddenly decided to leave them. They hoped she would be back soon. They had never seen the head rest before. They asked her to get a good rest and come back to them. She is obliged to return. The princess agreed with them, and after these words everyone decided that today they should drink until dawn, and they raised a toast to their leader. Because of her severe intoxication, the girl was not very aware of what was happening to her. And so she woke up in the arms of one lady, who had also joined the knights. She saw the other knights complaining about their problems. His Excellency is so intimidating because he has never spent time with others. It's true, he's really intimidating. If any of us make a mistake, he will probably get rid of him. She realized that the knights were talking about her father. The girl was moved by their words, and she too began to speak. If she dies, he won't even notice. All because she never rested, only worked hard for him. She even deliberately fell down the stairs, because she wanted his attention. How could he not visit her room at least once? All the knights began to sympathize and support her. How could a father do this to his child? This is all because the chapter is very kind. From now on, she must give him a riot. All the knights who were there were studying hard, but spending time with them was a lot more fun? Asked one of them. Milady agreed with him and laughed out loud. She had never known it was possible to just have fun with everyone like that. When the princess was finally drunk, she could no longer stand on her feet. Sir Joseph wanted to take her to the manor. But the girl who was with her said that she was already walking, so she would take her herself. Sir Joseph walked them to the carriage, and watched them drive away into the distance. Wilfred came outside to him. He asked Joseph. Why was he sighing like that, after all they had had a good time together? Was he embarrassed? He had followed them for so long, so he thought he'd like to hang out with them, too. So that his subject wouldn't talk like that again, Joseph slapped him on the leg and asked him what they were talking to the mistress about. Wilfred said they talked about various topics, about domestic problems and plans, and they also complained a little about the Duke. This answer Joseph did not anticipate in any way. But the knight told him that the head also complained about the Duke. And if Joseph is going to punish them, he must punish the princess, too. After these words, Joseph kicked him in the leg again. Wilfred, and to think that their head would behave like that. He thought she was intimidating and cruel, but it turned out she could be gentle and quite sweet. Joseph imagined a sweet princess. And such thoughts even made him blush. And when the girl woke up the next morning, she had a very bad headache. She asked the maids to clear her schedule and cancel all her plans, because she wasn't feeling very well. While nursing her brushing, she reminded the princess that she had asked her to seek out information about spirits. For that, she should go to the library. Does she want to go there now or later? The princess asked that she get everything ready. As Rose braided her hair, the princess asked her if she could live anywhere, which place would she choose? Potted told her that she dreamed of going on a trip. All because she had never been outside the capital before. She really wanted to see the world and have new experiences. When Rose finished her stories, the princess told her that she could take a vacation. She would order the butler to cover all expenses. Rose was very happy and thanked the princess. Kiira was sure that Rose would go no further than the outskirts of town. To which the maid eagerly agreed with her. Wasn't life in a small town a waste of time? Besides, she wouldn't want to die wasting an entire life just working. Kiira praised her maid, since work was not the purpose of life. Rose remarked that my lady sounded like an old man with a lot of life experience. Suddenly Kiira wondered. What if there was a parallel universe? In which she was not a child of House Farvis, but had freedom? And then her life would be completely different. Thinking about it, she asked Rose how the noble ladies of other families lived. She told her that she was not a noble woman, and she did not know much about it. Nevertheless, there are novels in which noble ladies are the protagonists. And she could recommend several. Kiira liked the idea. She asked for a recommendation for a book that told of the everyday life of a lady. Even though Kiira's preferences were different from Rose's, she would still try to pick something interesting. Sitting at a table in the royal palace, Kiira read books. She was a little saddened that all the information she had read she already knew. Then she turned to Robert. Perhaps he had ever seen spirits? Butler replied that he knew that only descendants of House Farvis could see them. She asked Robert to investigate if there was any reason why an ordinary person would be able to see spirits. If she said she was interested purely theoretically, it would not arouse suspicion. In this way she has studied all her life. She would also like to attend receptions and make friends. After all, this is her new life. Now that she thought about it. After all, she had never even had any friends. At all the festivities she attended, she always stayed with her family. Could it be that even then rumors were spreading that she was boring? While she was thinking about this, suddenly one of the knights approached her from behind. It was Sir Arthur. He was looking all over the royal palace for her. He brought her a special drink that should help her recover from her hangover. The deputy asked him to give it to her. The princess, as a well-mannered lady should, thanked the young man. And said that, frankly, her head really hurts a little. As he was about to leave, she called out to him. She, and at the same time, told the maids to go away so that she could talk in private. As soon as they left, she immediately rushed over to Sir Arthur. She supposed he was paying well with the others. Then, he must have attended many social receptions. The truth is, she would like to get along with someone other than her family. But she doesn't even know where to start. What should I talk to her about to get along with people? The knight didn't expect such a question and thought all this time she was lonely. After thinking about it for a while, he said she would have the easiest time getting along with girls her age. He was embarrassed to say this, but after the princess insisted that he be frank with her, he said she should smile more often. She has to understand that people like to be treated in a friendly way. But there are also people who talk too nicely. Then there is the possibility that they are pretending and being hypocritical. He told her that she looks very awful when she speaks without emotion, then she looks exactly like a duke. He meant that looks and eye contact also mattered. Then she remembered that indeed, Sir Joseph had told her something similar. Sir Arthur continued to admonish her. The first impression is not that important, but the conversation is very important. She needs to find common interests with her interlocutor. Then he asked her what she was interested in and what she liked to do. She told him that she is interested in destroying magical beasts and protecting the empire. He didn't expect that in any way and tried to change the subject. He asked her what she thought about opera or theater. Not that the princess liked it, but she could find out more about it. Then she could continue the conversation. Kiira thought. Well, Arthur interrupted her and said it would be a little wrong. It would be more like her forcing herself on you. Interests are something else. Would it be right for her to force herself to enjoy something she has absolutely no interest in? She should enjoy talking about what she's passionate about. With this, she could not disagree more. If she continues to behave in this way, then how will it be different from her past life? In the evening, when the princess was in her bedroom, Rose brought her 3 novels. The girl took one of them. It was called Lady Stella's Summer Adventure. But Rose advised that it was better not to read this book before going to bed, because she would be very interested in the story and would sit up all night at the book. Then the princess wondered, if the story was fun, was it really about everyday life? Asked this one. She began to read the book. I was the daughter of a low-class nobleman. As soon as the opportunity presented itself, I decided to take a summer vacation in the capital. For this chance I had my aunt to thank, who had married a very influential man. And so, I welcomed my 18th summer on my way in a wagon to the capital. Some miracle brought us together with the count. After arriving in the capital, we spent every day together. And one day the count's hand was under my dress. When Rose reached that page, she threw the book to the floor. What kind of books had Rose brought her? Even though she threw the book on the floor, she was still curious to read the sequel. When I found myself in Graham's arms, it felt like time had stopped. This happiness would last forever, right? If I'm with him? And then she noticed that it was morning. She hadn't noticed that she hadn't slept a wink all night. Rose, who came to the princess every morning, knocked and opened the door. The princess immediately hid the book so she wouldn't notice. But you could see from her condition that she had not slept all night. When the maid came to the bedside, she said why she had asked her not to read before bedtime. Kiira said she really liked the book, especially the part where the guy and girl are in the garden. Where they enjoyed the ball all night, that part was great. Then, she didn't know there was such a thing. The protagonist's life at the academy was also fun because she only studied at home and never went out with anyone. Even though it was literature meant for ordinary people. The maid said she knew of a couple of other books that had a similar story. If the princess would like it, she could bring it to her. The princess was very enthusiastic about this book, so she gladly asked for some more books. Opening the windows, the maid said that the princess had nothing planned for the morning, so she could get some more sleep. But Kiira said she planned to visit the library. When the maid helped the princess, she went to the other maids. When she entered their room, she asked them where the sequel to the story of Lady Stella's Summer Adventures was. Lady Kiira said she wanted to tally it up. All the maids who were present in the room were very shocked at this news. They had no idea that Milady was reading romantic stories. Not saintly or academic books. Weren't people going to burn that shameful book? To avoid listening to these silly questions, Russ covered her ears and asked, just to borrow the book. She told them that the princess was interested to know how the ordinary ladies live. Meanwhile, standing in the library, my lady was reading the continuation of the book. How did you recognize me by just one look? Only you have such brilliant, purple eyes. She blushed at what she'd read. But that wasn't why she'd come here, she needed to find information about spirits. After all, even the royal library didn't have much information about them, though that was to be expected. Even as the only family connected to spirits, Farvis knows nothing. Because the temple said that the holy power bestowed by the goddess should not be subject to experimentation, therefore it was accepted without question. Because of this, there is so little material to study. She was getting bored rereading what she already knew. While studying material in the library, she overheard the maids talking about the book she was reading tonight. One maid said she was reading the novel Analogy, and another said she liked the main story better. The main couple rarely appear, and the younger sister only appears in the middle of the novel. And why is my lady looking for that? Another maid replied that Lady Hera wants to learn about the life of her noble daughter. She must be researching her. Another maid who stood with them said she liked the scene where they narrated their feelings to each other in the garden. Would it be rude if she said it was very exciting to read how afraid they were of being caught? To which I serve a second maid replied that she enjoyed it. When they moved into the seaside mansion, because of their first wedding night, the other maids backed her up and said they liked the scene, too. But one maid liked the part where they recognized each other at first sight, even though they were wearing masks. The princess who overheard their conversation also liked this scene very much, it was just great. She really wanted to join in and talk to them. When she looked out from around the corner, the maids were very frightened. They immediately began to apologize to her and make excuses. They were only talking because they were on a break and would go on immediately. Kiira didn't even have time to say anything as the maids left the place. Frustrated after this incident, she wandered around the castle. Would things have been different if she had said without hesitation that she enjoyed this conversation? Her reputation has always been a priority for her. She doesn't even have the courage to admit that she enjoys romances. Wandering around the castle, she met Rose. The maid asked her if she had finished her business in the library. Kiira said she hadn't found everything yet and planned to look tomorrow. She also had to confess something to her. The truth was that everything she had said this morning had been a lie. When she said she wanted to explore the normal life of a regular lady, it certainly helped her, but frankly, Roman got cold feet and the Count was very exciting. She really enjoyed their first meeting and the confession scene. But she was embarrassed to say that she enjoyed reading the novel. Smiling, Rose replied that when Milady said she enjoyed it, she felt happy. Next time she will bring her another novel. The lady was very happy to hear such an answer. She thanked Rose for recommending such a wonderful book to her.